This is Mirror's Edge reveal trailer. For the last couple days, this trailer burrowed deep into my brain and refused to leave. Despite not having revisited the game in years, I found myself unable to stop thinking about it, and why I find it so effective. So fixated I've become, here's not only replaying the game, but somehow making a video about it. So let me do that real quick, I guess. Mirror's Edge is a 2008 video game. It was developed by DICE of Dotted Geometrical Objects fame and published by Electronic Arts of Being Electronic Arts fame. After being acquired by EA in 2006, DICE showed great success with their Battlefield series, but wanted to try something new with their next title, a first-person game that would deliberately not play like a shooter. Coincidentally, real-life supervillain and then CEO of EA John Riccitiello was feeling quite nice that year, and felt okay with the idea of EA Studios trying new stuff, giving way to not only Mirror's Edge, but also Dead Space over at Visceral Games. Well, they were called EA Redwood Shores back then. Back at DICE, I started working on concepts for the game, starting from pencil sketches, building them up into animatics, and eventually an in-engine prototype. Now fast forward 2 years later, bada bim bada boom, Mirror's Edge done and out for sale. Game dev is very easy. Now picture 14-ish-year-old me, circa 2010-ish, visiting over at a friend's house. We were skipping school. I was a nerd, so of course I was eyeing my friend's game collection when my eyes met Fate's tattooed one on the game's box art. I was drawn to the game, and so I asked my friend about it. He gave me a rundown, explaining how it was a game about running real fast and parkour. I was of course attracted to the idea of parkour, like any self-respecting teenager in the 2000s ought to. And some of my most formative games were all about running fast, like this Sonic game, or this Sonic game, or this other Sonic game. And so we engaged in the then sacred social practice of trading games.
Thanks.
I believe I let him borrow Moto GP09 or some shit. And so I went home to my not so slim PlayStation 3 Slim and I played the game. So faith be who you be in Mirror's Edge, a runner who's been recently wounded but has since recovered by the time you take control of her. Runners being basically outlaw couriers who parkour through buildings. The way that translates to your controller is obvious enough. You can jump long, jump high, jump on walls, jump off walls, etc. And just overall display a high level of competency while doing that. And the controls, while simple, fluid, and reliable, are also highly effective at communicating said competency, asking you as the player to offer some of your own to live up this runner fantasy. Linking jumps and wall runs, rolling to soften falls, being precise, quick, and resourceful are all needed to maintain a sense of flow and momentum. Said sense of flow is the essence of the game and the main pillar everything else is built upon. You see, game feel is king because it's the most direct and honest interfacing between player and game, and by extension, designer. And there's nothing more honest than running. Pure kinetic energy given form through intent and emotion. Movement might as well be the single most expressive thing humans are capable of, and that's doubly so for virtual humans and hedgehogs inside our computer games. A worthy concept to build a game around. Build a city around. Welcome to the city. Yeah, they didn't give it a proper name. It's great. The city is sickly beautiful, colorful and vibrant, but clinically stale. A maquette someone would build of their idea of a perfect city. This is where you'll be running throughout the game, as you're tasked with getting from place to place in a linear chapter-based structure, keeping the focus on movement. And the city is fun to look at, and trust me, I look at it a lot. Stark whites and precise use of primary colors, bold angular shapes, evocative lighting, and incredible tactile texture work. I swear I can feel these walls. Please let me touch them, I promise I won't lick them! 7th generation games are often remembered for the sludge sepias and the monotone grays. And while I actually enjoy that aesthetic a lot if it's played to its strengths, Mirror's Edge stands directly in contrast to that trend. There's a lot that has been said, and a lot that could be said about the art direction in Mirror's Edge. But the bottom line is that it's prettier than your ex-wife. The first one, I mean. But perhaps not enough has been said about how functional it is. Not only providing a wonderful playground for you to jump around while you get from A to B, but to see you make it there without second guessing and relying on your instincts. Runner vision is the mechanic, highlighting pertaining nearby objects red for you to engage with. A lot of conversation is happening recently about the yellow paint effect in modern gaming, how it's perhaps overused or misused in certain games as a way to circumvent level design the player can reasonably engage with, or maybe highlight interactables that might otherwise not be communicated properly. Runner vision is definitely none of these, not a crutch, but yet another leg, a core part of the art direction and fully contextualized within the game. It's honest and fair, just there to keep you moving. Best proven by how you can turn it off in the settings and play dust as well. This is simply put because the level design is fucking great. Using color and framing to guide your eyes to your immediate goals and using weenies,
don't laugh,
to highlight your eventual ones. In Chapter 5, your ultimate goal is to reach the New Eden Mall. However, increased police activity forces you to take a detour in order to get there, giving you ample opportunity to see that distinct landmark from multiple vantage points, guiding you and reminding you of your end goal, but also giving you a really strong sense of place. By the time the game ends, you've instinctually developed an understanding of where you are at any given point relative to the rest of the city. And that's the kind of stuff you could only do in a video game. Interiors are just as wonderful, leaning more on deliberate lighting to grab your attention. Offices, malls, and more in all your favorite eye candy colors. There's some great puzzly stuff here that makes you pay all the more attention to the environments too. Take this broken pipe that's blocking your path, follow the tubes back to their origin point, and find a valve you can turn to cut it off. Or this bit where you have to get down to the bottom level. You might spot this ladder leading down and realize you first have to find a way up to go down it. It's smart and cute, and I like it. This would all be for naught if the environments were all samey looking and blended with each other. Thankfully, DICE consider this, and so there's a lot of unique levels and set pieces you'll be running through. Take the scaffolding and cranes of Chapter 3, or the wonderfully realized subway in Chapter 4. Each level offers its unique set of thrills and gameplay opportunities, like Chapter 8, where you have to climb a skyscraper's construction site and watch the longest platforming challenge in the game. Or maybe you'd prefer the sewer in Chapter 2, which you descend into and later climb out of, all while dodging snipers and fighting off a private military squad. Speaking of, let's talk about the combat. Cops be shooting. We all know this. In-game though, this gives you something to run from, creating some conflict and forcing you to move swiftly and with purpose. You can't avoid them if you're agile enough, but you can also fight. Punches and kicks, or full-on flying kicks if you're built like that. You can also choose to neutralize them using a disarm move parry style, or by first getting behind their backs. If you do get a hold of a gun, you can shoot it. They're effective, but low on ammo. And more importantly, you can only get one by taking one, meaning it acts as a reward for proper play. Whether you fight or run, shoot or punch, it's all up to you holding the sticks. The game, for the most part, makes all options viable and guilt-free. There's no tacky, tacked-on in-game moral choice to be made, like other games would do during the PS360 era. So don't worry, you can still make it into heaven even if you don't shoot every cop. Me though, I'm trying to get there on double time. There's some variety here as well, for sure. You have the aforementioned snipers, you've got your attack helicopters, SWAT teams, and eventually parkour cops, which will follow you up rooftops and punch you in the titties. Overall, I think the game integrates combat elegantly, still emphasizing finesse of movement as your greatest tool, while diversifying a little bit the gameplay style. Yet another element serving the core. Some things for sure though, whether you're fighting, running, or vibing, the music is putting out all the big stops. Solar Fields is the man behind the beats, and I think he did an amazing job. The range on display here is pretty crazy even on single level tracks. Contemplative moments as you run free lead into more of a sinister tension building section, and eventually break into full-on industrial fuck someone up music. There's a really neat dynamic music system going on as well, which I believe was still quite rare and novel back in 7th gen, and it works great. Really helps make every chapter feel all the more cohesive. Let's take a minute to listen to chapter 4's music track so I can show you what I mean. Trust me, it'll be worth it. Yep, it's just really good. I could honestly play you the entire soundtrack to hammer the point home, but I'll just leave it at that for now. While making this video, I dove deeper into Solar Field's other work, and yeah, it was pretty great. Definitely a recommend from me, particularly if you enjoy a more meditative brand of psychedelic trance. The main theme for the game was composed by Rami Yacoub and Arne Thor Bergesen, featuring the vocals of Lisa Miskovsky. Yes, it's all sweets all the way down. It's a great tune, and the opening piano functions as a great mnemonic for the game. Once you listen to those first couple notes, you already know it's Mirror's Edge. I guess I should mention that, while I said the city looks prettier than your ex-wife, it also sounds better than your ex-husband? Once again, the detail here is, well, it's getting kind of fucked up at this point. Faith's breathing as she runs, it feels real. And the whooshing of the city as you jump into motion. Vents. And more vents. And other vents. And I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna assume it's more vents. This fucking wooden plank.
I love you.
The Foley level is just off the charts. The faint echoes of the streets below are in particular really effective. But whatever you do, please do not fall. Ah, shucks, I guess I've got PTSD now. Gee golly. I'm blaming audio director Magnus Waltersad for this one. He explains this process in this 2009 New Bay audio media piece. Magnus would write down a manifesto of everything the player would hear during 4 minutes of gameplay, with a focus on presenting the world as Faith hears it. This article is great, and I definitely recommend you read it. It's being preserved by the people over at the Mirror's Edge Archive, a pretty cool site that has tons of neat stuff like interviews and beta footage. It's a great resource, and I had lots of fun digging around there, so shoutouts to them as well. And while we're talking about details, I might as well just bring up some other stuff to nerd about. I love how there's always something moving in the background, be it a waving flag or smokestacks. It really helps make every landscape come to life. You can feel the trains as you approach the subway, which is really cool detail. Have you collected every rat? Aww. Yeah, this game loves rats, or hates them, depending on how you want to think about it. Don't really know what to say about them other than I love them. They bring some character to the game and oftentimes pull your attention to show you something. Like not to get electrocuted. Thank you, friend. Although if I was smarter, I bet I could argue they function as remnants of the old city, one before everything was pristine and dead. Rats are perceived as dirty and undesirable by some, but they're also resourceful and persistent, not unlike runners. Then again, there's also this, so...
Go. You gotta get down there.
I'm the giant rat that makes all of the rules.
I don't know. And if you want to talk details, how about the screen bobbing and weaving as you run and jump? It's a wonderful effect that sells you on Faith's movements, gives them proper weight. Whenever I pick the game up after a couple of years, I'm always surprised by how much is going on with the screen, and I wonder if maybe it's a bit too much after all. But after 1 minute of gameplay, I just settle in and it becomes part of the background, passively enhancing the experience. There's a great deal of care put into Faith's animations too. First-person games can struggle with showing characterization, but Faith feels fully realized through her arm movements alone. Relevantly, the game features no HUD, save for one small dot reticle to prevent motion sickness. This minimalist approach is key and highlights just how far DICE was willing to go to sell you on the experience. Taking it back to the colors, art director Johannes Söderqvist, I'm sorry, I definitely butchered that one. He mentions that while creating the game's look, they made the decision to limit green to interiors only, to better create visual contrast. This actually led to a really sick decision where they made the trees white instead, which I love. And it happens to work perfectly with the themes of the city, so that's great. Maybe you don't care about all this stuff and you're just sitting there like,
Why is he still talking about the pointless trees? Can he talk about something of substance like the story?
And well, first of all, settle down there, let me work my shit. But the main reason I've avoided talking about this story until now is that it's maybe the part where the fun falls flat a bit. Don't get me wrong, there's definitely some sound stuff here. For one, it's got its theme song straight. I already mentioned the city being this dystopian nightmare, and it's the citizenship program that turned it so. Designed to effectively control and dictate how people live, for their own benefit of course, offering no room for the marginalized and marginalizing them further. Now with a hard-on for heavily armed cops and private military companies. Faith's parents were part of a resistance movement that was criminalized, ending in a series of riots where Faith and her sister Kate lost their mom. The sisters drifted apart, with Kate becoming a cop trying to preserve good and Faith becoming a runner trying to create some good for herself. Surviving or living, taking the easy way out or fighting for a better one. This sibling relationship is the emotional backdrop during the plot. As Kate is framed for murdering a member of the Liberation Group, and Faith aims to clear her name by getting to the bottom of everything. This is a pretty good setup. It has stakes and emotional involvement, but it's ultimately let down by the way it's presented. The plotline gets a bit messy with all these organizations and secret projects, and not one, but two double crossings, and worst of all, the animated cutscenes. Now, just to make it clear, I have no problem with stylized animation. If anything, I'm a big fan of it. But the execution here is sloppy at best. It manages to look jerky, yet somehow too fluid, as characters' facial features and proportions are dragged from one frame to the next. It's got like a flash animation streak to it. Not to say that can't be charming or good, but I think these, for the most part, fail at that. I really wanna like these, trust me, and sometimes I think they're pretty good, but like, what the heck is going on here? Or here. Ew. The writing here is also not stellar at times, has a tendency to drift towards juvenile, which is fine, but clashes with the more restrained and introspective aspects of the game. It also commits the cardinal sin of explaining the symbols it's drawing from out loud.
All I can make out are Icarus, maybe, and to the highest.
Icarus. Wasn't he the Greek guy?
Yeah, his dad made him some wings out of feathers and wax. Then the boy flew too close to the sun. And psst, no more wings, no more Icarus.
I never asked for this.
Overall, it's not a big problem though, as the game mostly uses the story to push you from one chapter to the next, keeping you hooked on the gameplay. If you wanted to extrapolate some problems with the gameplay itself, I guess you could point to some of the occasional collision weirdness, which has killed me a couple times, or enemies being really aggressive and persistent, being unable to shake them off at all sometimes. Would be cool if you could dart out of their line of sight and get behind them that way. The enemy AI in general could do with some refinement, honestly. And if you were a crook, you could also point out the PS360 limitations here. The game features no load-in within chapters, which is for the best of course, but that means you're gonna be turning buffs, pushing buttons as you wait for doors to open and elevators to elevate. That being said, I'm actually a big fan of these elevators. They're perfectly paced with the level design and offer a brief respite from the action. They also get some good use out of them as they feature propaganda and just in general world building. When every other thing about the game works so well together, it's really easy to see past the not so great stuff, honestly. As a kid though, I thought I knew better. Going back to 2010-ish, after playing the game and really enjoying it, I was still left with a feeling of wanting more. A bigger game with more things in it and more mechanics. Needless to say, I was a stupid kid and wrong, but worst of all, EA heard me. Mirror's Edge Catalyst would come out in 2016 and reboot the series. I'm gonna be honest, I have not played this game to this day, so I feel like a jerk criticizing it. But for starters, it's impossible for me not to engage with the idea of rebooting a series after one single game. It's just very funny. And while we're being honest, I'll tell you, I have no desire to play it. I'm sure there's stuff to enjoy about it, but from what I can see, the game seems to work against what I now appreciate so much about the original. There's now a Ubisoft type open world, objective markers, scale trees, and a freaking context sensitive grappling hook. A lot of superfluous shit that seems to serve no purpose other than going down a checklist of video game stuff. The elegance has been killed. Mirror's Edge was already a miracle back in 2009. It wasn't often that you got that amount of creative control and unfiltered vision over a AAA game. Imagine in 2016. Imagine in 2024. AAA game development keeps growing exponentially more expensive and profit-driven. The people in glass buildings reap said profits while devs keep getting laid off, literally as I'm writing this. With Sony and EA themselves laying off 900 and 670 people respectively. The fucking corporate speak in these ones is fucking gross as well. Difficult news about our workforce. Continuing to evolve our business and teams. Are you fucking kidding? A lot of, if not most of the talented people who worked on this game are no longer at DICE, and some of them are out of the industry altogether. This industry is just not one where people can grow old doing what they love, and I worry that they won't be there to share their knowledge to the next generation of developers. While indies exist and they're great, they also have their own set of problems with what I guess you would call over-competition, with some of them greatly succeeding but most of them just drowning. Not to mention they can't be expected to capture the same audience games like Mirror's Edge did. It's here we're really missing that AA space we let go of back in 8th gen. If big studios were willing to invest in multiple smaller projects, they would also be willing to take more risks, allowing for more original games. I know I'm just going off track here and just ranting, and I'm definitely not the greatest person to articulate bigger points about stuff like this. But I know the way things are now just sucks. And it definitely sucks most for the people who actually make the games I love, who keep getting fucked. It's sad to say, but I don't think another Mirror's Edge could be made today. Well, that was a bit of a downer. For the longest time, whenever I thought of my favorite games, Mirror's Edge would not necessarily come up in my brain. I no doubt loved it, but I just can't say I thought about it all that much. Working on this video has given me new appreciation for it, and I'm happy I can now confidently call it one of the video games. So why wouldn't that trailer leave my brain? Remember when I opened the video with that? God, that was a stupid idea. Past me was so cringe. Well, simply put, the trailer is the game. Of course, it literally is just gameplay footage, but it's a perfect vertical size of a game that's itself all about that vertical size, with every element from the art direction to the music contributing its own ingredients to the cake. I fucking hate food metaphors. When everything is working together, the design is amplified, like voices singing in unison. Was that one better? A pure and unfiltered vision that's so coherent and honest you can sell someone on it with a single 20-second gameplay clip. Or a 20-minute YouTube video. When you're playing Mirror's Edge, the game is playing along with you. Or at least giving you an encouraging push to your start. Making you just want to run for it. Giving you all the commitment you need to take leaps of faith like this. Wait, you're telling me the second trailer links up from the ending of the first one? Huh. That's pretty neat. I guess that ending really was a cliffhanger. Hey, if you're listening to this, you watched my video. Thanks! This is my first video on this channel. I've been meaning to open up this channel for a bit now, and I guess I finally got that momentum, as it were, with this Mirror's Edge video idea. So I hope that was good. I think it was okay. I have a couple ideas for future videos, but nothing strictly planned just yet, so I guess we'll see how that goes. If you wanna find out, you can hang around maybe, I don't know, maybe we could like... Subscribe! Anyway, have a good rest of the day, I'll catch you later. I gotta go, it's cold as shit in this room, dog.